Good evening. Is that on? Thank you. I'm June Speakman, as you said. I'm a professor of political science at Roger Williams, served on the Barrington Town Council for 14 years. I'm on the executive committee of the Women's Caucus. I do not represent any of those institutions in my remarks this evening. 2 years ago, I moved to Warren, where I sit on the planning board and the Democratic Town Committee there. Also am not speaking for those institutions. My representative is Ken Marshall. In conversations with both Representative Marshall, my Senator Walter Felag, and several other members of the General Assembly about H 7340, I and others have been told essentially, ladies, you have nothing to worry about. As the last speaker just said, the United States Supreme Court will not overturn Roe versus Wade. Your right to choose will be preserved. I'm here to discuss that argument a little bit. Given the extreme volatility of politics in Washington these days, we should all be careful about predicting how anything will go there. Such confidence in the court's wisdom is unwarranted and offers no comfort to those in Rhode Island who seek to protect reproductive rights. Although I'm not a lawyer, as has been pointed out to me several times, I do have a PhD in political science, for what that's worth, and have taught constitutional law and judicial politics off and on for many years. Based on this experience, I share with you my thoughts on what might in fact happen in the Supreme Court. The court is one retirement away from a conservative majority. If that vacancy occurs soon, we have every reason to expect that President Trump will nominate an anti-choice justice. Why? Because he said so. He has promised on many occasions that anyone he appoints to the Supreme Court will overturn Roe versus Wade. And Mitch McConnell's Senate, with the abolition of the filibuster, can confirm this nomination expeditiously. We have certainly seen this process taking place in lower federal courts as dozens of conservative anti-choice justices have taken their seats on the federal bench, and more of those justices are in the pipeline. Some argue that even if Trump does get this appointment, the Supreme Court justices defer to the principle of stare decisis, or precedent. And again, they say, ladies, there's nothing to worry about. Well, there most certainly is something to worry about. Since 1810, the court has overturned its own precedent about 250 times. While that's not a large number, these decisions are tremendously consequential, often changing the course of history. The most famous among these, which I'm sure you're all familiar with, is Brown versus Board of Ed, which overturned Plessy versus Ferguson, ending the edifice of legally mandated segregation. I have a list of other famous instances in which the court overturned precedent: Loving versus Virginia, Lawrence versus Texas, Obergefell versus Hodges, Citizens United versus FEC, and there are more. So given the right set of circumstances, Supreme Courts in the past have been willing to invalidate the decisions of their predecessors, and there is absolutely no guarantee that under the right, or more aptly, the wrong circumstances, the court will overturn the rights embedded in Roe. And even if the court does not overturn Roe, it will chip away at the reproductive choice that exists now by permitting states to enact onerous restrictions, some of which we've already heard about this evening, until Roe is meaningless. So there is plenty to worry about and no time to wait. Rhode Island women cannot rely on a hostile president, a conservative court, and an unpredictable Washington to protect their rights. The Rhode Island General Assembly must act now to protect those rights by codifying the rights granted in Roe versus Wade. I urge you to move 7340 to the floor. Thank you.